Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Lewis J. Ridley and today I'm going to be talking about how to master your English or take your English to the next level from a linguistic and speech pathology perspective. This video is for those that want to take their English to the next level, those that English is their second language or additional language, and you want to try and remove an accent or kind of just understand how to speak more like a native speaker. Mindset. This isn't going to be an easy walk in the park. This is going to be difficult. Why? I myself have learnt Japanese and then I had to unlearn a lot of things in Japanese as soon as I found out pitch accent existed. You seem to be fluent because you're understanding this video, but there might be some things you don't understand about English in order to get you to where you want to be. You're going to take on this challenge. You're going to do it. You're going to take it to the next level. You might not have the opportunity to go abroad and just acquire it. So you need to learn it. And I'm going to give you the skills in this video to get there. When it comes to learning a language, sometimes it's better to learn from someone that isn't native, because they understand the rules and how the language functions. Now, yes, this is a fine line. We want to make sure that we speak with native speakers, but sometimes they can't explain why things are the way they are. They just say it. Like in English, if I say, I went to the beach, and someone said, why can't I say I goed to the beach? I'd be like, that's a good point. Why can't we say I go to the beach? It just sounds weird, but we say went. We know that ed is the past tense morpheme. However, we have irregular past tense verbs like went. You know, I could go into linguistics and say one's Latin and one's Greek and this is why, but I don't know that. I don't need to know that. I just speak English because I'm fluent. Whereas when you want to learn another language, you need to know the rules because you don't want to say the wrong thing and sound unnatural. This is why there's a difference between acquisition and language learning. So if you learn your mother tongue and how the rules work there, you can then start to ask the questions, how do I learn English properly? So we know in Chinese that there's tones. There's 4 tones. Ma, 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 ma. I don't know the tones, but we know that there's 4 different ones and we have to use them so that we can not say cow or mum. We don't want to get these things mixed up. What if I told you there was the same thing in English? You'd be like, what? That makes no sense. What I mean by this, there is a same phenomenon happening here when it comes to understanding the way we use the language. So if I was speaking in context with a Chinese person and I said, for example, I want to see my mum, and let's say I said the wrong tone for mum, and let's say it was cow, for example. Let's say ma means cow and ma means mum, right? They would be like, silly foreigner, he's saying mum, but he says cow because he's hasn't mastered the tones yet, but I understand what he's trying to say. So meaning was still being conveyed. It just sounded a little off because he used the wrong word. Now, the example I want to give to you in English is this word. How do you say this word? I'm going to put it up on the screen. So there's 2 ways you could say this word. There's content and content. Ooh, so we can see that there's a little bit difference here. And this little dash refers to stress. To further explain this idea, I'm going to explain some linguistic terminology. For example, we have the word bank. Bank meaning the place in which we store money, and bank as in river bank. Now, they are homonyms. Homo meaning same and nym meaning name or word. So we've got content and content. Now, one, we've got creating content, meaning something or a thing that you're creating, or there's contents in this bag. Can I see the contents of that book? And you've got content, meaning I'm feeling content, or I'm happy, or I'm kind of just chilling out. I'm content, don't worry. They're 2 different words. They're spelt the same, but they're pronounced differently. Well, I argue they're pronounced the same. They have different stress, though. Big difference. So in the same way in Chinese, where there's different tones, we have stress. So English is a stress language. Now, for some of you, this would make your English so much better and more like a native speaker. And what I mean by it being very, very difficult is because as English speakers, as a native English speaker, I learnt to acquire the stress. Whereas English learners, have to learn the stress. So, in the same way that I might say cow instead of mum, you can use context to kind of figure out what I'm meaning, and it just sounds a bit weird. Whereas, in the same way, when a lot of people want to learn English and they don't master the stress, it sounds a bit weird, yet we still understand exactly what you're saying. If I said to you, let's film some content. Let's film some content. Oh, sorry, you mean content? Yeah, sorry, let's film some content. Or can I please look inside your bag and see the content? You'd be like, okay, sure. It just sounds weird, but of course the meaning's still conveyed based on the context. Now, this is what is going to change your English forever. Every word has at least one stress, at least. Some have two. If I said the word impossible, 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 not impossible. That is impossible, or impossible, impossible. See, there's different stresses. So they're the same pronunciation, but they have different stress. So for those of you at home that seem to have the vowels correct, the consonants correct, you're pronouncing the word correctly, but it just sounds a bit off, you need to master stress. That is the next level for you. Now, all you need to do is go into Google and put in the word and then put definition. And then it comes up with a British or an American kind of interpretation. And it shows you where this little dash is. So that little dash is the stress marker. And if you listen to a few of them, you can kind of identify how it impacts the pronunciation of the word. Now, it does help to learn the International Phonetic Alphabet for this. But in reality, you just need to memorize this little dash. And wherever that dash is dictates the stress. So when you have a word that you're unsure, figure out the stress and you will sound native. You get the vowels correct, you get the consonants correct, and the stress, that is 99% of English mastered. Now, obviously, we have the cultural aspects. If you want to learn Australian English, we shorten everything. We add E on the end of everything. We have like, very like nasalized. There's other aspects you can learn, but for a universal English skill, stress. I cannot stress it enough. Stress is so important. I remember I was heartbroken. From year 7 to university, I did Japanese. And up until uni, I found out that Japanese has a pitch accent. The word for bridge and the word for chopstick are spoken the same, but they have different pitch accents. One is hashi, and one is hashi, or hashi. See, I can't do it very well. But to a Japanese person, just by listening it, they'll be like, oh, that's bridge, and that one's chopstick. In the same way in English, we have to learn the stress. So I had to go back and learn all this pitch accent to sound like a native speaker. And that's the sacrifice you have to make in order to learn English at a high level. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Keep going. Do it, set your SMART goals, and it will get there, and you'll get there. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.